bacteria Ukraine sending them the deal with Russia, trying to find the political summit and damage the relationship with assessment of Europe as misguided in Belgium, decommissioning the U.S. President of Europe's energy market that's called to 620. The country provides an idea that we're selling the U.S. companies to reach 60% of Europe's search project is easier to enter the market in Belgium than the larger European markets. You're seeing in Belgium, with this and Europe, there's room for U.S. companies to enter. U.S. companies to export decommissioning. This is a great business opportunity, and the energy markets are cornerstone of transatlantic alliance. That's story 14. Through partnership, the U.S. development capital, the wealth and knowledge of European developers have amassed. U.S. offshore wind players are engaged with European developers and political leaders to trade beyond all sharing these internal beyond the trade, the opportunity to build relations, joint venture, a win-win situation, and Russia's threatened a nuclear war, and they're upgrading their arsenals. Now, U.S. needs to work with Europe to check this back now. Let's BBC 5-3. Russian nuclear state robotic measure help relation between NATO and Moscow. Russia has especially more democratic nuclear strike. Russia is singly modernizing nuclear arsenal. We don't need to make Russia an enemy to defend our allies. Moscow raises trouble question about Russia's respect for norms against abuse of nuclear weapons. U.S. to work along with NATO allies. Relations between Russia and U.S. have deteriorated and have raised a full-on confrontation. And U.S.-EU cooperation on Russia is key to avoiding miscalculation full-scale war. That's AC 14. U.S. and Europe need to up their game. Terror has no more to do with Russian miscalculation, reactive decision-making. Putin is swinging north the risk of being a result of fire and full-scale war. It's better to deter our present. The U.S. and Europe are not credible and including the U.S. going to its alliance supposed to be some issue with the economic austerity. The U.S. can build up back in Europe and pivot fully to Asia, and the U.S. needs to rely on partners to a greater extent than in the past. And Russia nuclear war causes extinction as posture too. With building a nuclear arsenal, all nuclear war is possible to do substantial mobility to qualify as a global terminal. And nuclear Armageddon will now reach Russia. U.S. should chain a large cost of method, reduce first competition. Smaller nuclear chain is not likely to create existential risk and advantage to its terror. Belgium's nuclear terminal terror attacks must solve down and recent terror means that it's on the brink. That's AFP 326. Belgium's nuclear reactors 15 threat attack periods in Belgium's on high alert following suicide bombing after serious problem leads to unsolved sabotage in the country's oldest reactor. The security budget murder the acid batch slow blood nuclear fatality is linked to Russell the Paris attack. The risk of terrorist acquisition in Belgian reactors high. That's Sony and 4-1. Brussels bombers were videotaping Belgian nuclear facility already ultimately abused for dirty bomb medical terrorism with the close to making a terrorist. Because of a nuclear weapon, highly uranium plutonium ISIS posed the greatest that we could have ever seen as a bomb. Could put economy and politics to shock. We've got economic control of the terrorists. Could just attack nuclear practices. Might take cyber attack and nuclear practice. We prevent acts by reducing nuclear reactors. The risk of nuclear with high nuclear should cause extinction and independent retaliation. That's 2 and 7. Nuclear policy is going to cause urban casualty exceeding 1 million economic consequences of even a localized nuclear threats. You would have a severe international economic consequences. Terrorists would strike the attack and could generate consequences comparable to full-scale nuclear counterforce and superpower conflict. Quantities of smoke generated by attacks voting about 1 megation of nuclear force could lead to significant global crime perturbation. Underview. Scenario analysis pedagogically value enhanced creativity, self-reflectivity, and advice and flawed ontological jump to enable the imaginary creation of alternative future. That's Barma at all 16. The cultural relevance of political science implemented one component of the generation standard producing program that are action possible striking little evidence, attention to techniques, scenario analysis given a risk to zero the future, they go without convention, offer extrapolation, continuity analysis, just put current trends and unexpected combination to articulate expressible alternative rules, scenarios and are explicitly forecast nor simulation their possible future, and the ability to scenarios to imagine, prepare for discussion, these considered by using existing mental models, disaster, grouping, and the scenarios help break out of control modes of thinking, scenario analysis, sharply overlap with different question on introduction of learners are deliberately forward-looking, appropriate assumptions that permit scholarship and understanding, and two debaters must consult teachers. They're going to be at least 15 minutes prior to the round. Multiple more. Take one is that so standard education. I don't know what you're going to do, so if you disclose that, I would change the aspect more less abusive, so we can have a better round TV with norm setting. If everyone is listening to norms, so we have less debates and more. So standard education 3, nuclear phase that solves the medium arms, nuclear power enables a culture shift towards renewables and period 2. Let's time 14. Literature shows the global transition to 100% renewable, both technically and economically feasible by 2030, and renewable energy is fast and cheaper than nuclear. If we invest in nuclear versus renewables, eventually will keep melting it. Would fear to turn the control governments to transition away from nuclear. Germany, the anti-nuclear movement, integrated the renewables revolution. And 4, there's no consensus on the grammatical quantification of variable for contextual distortion to report versus probability that Carl was 77. English variable distortion, there's no quantifiability of question about whether there's permanent present all this construction was semantic principle for Marian studies with the diversity of possible interpretations. There's no refund interpretation uses 5. Voter fair space activity with doings and losses and division to have interaction also fuels your ability to win the better education of voter as the main goal of debate using competing in terms on theory. One reasonably other any constitutional interaction with judge arbitrary sets or systems probably declassified competing in terms of debating rather than two competing in terms of fostering better norms by the person fair ritual to reasonably frustrate the bottom by encouragement to use activity and get to live with defense.
Alright, you read everything, right? Alright, cool, ready? Okay, Naomi Klein, who is she?
What?
Naomi Klein is your author for Nuclear Phase-Out Solves Immediate Harms of Nuclear Power.
Right.
So she's a high schooler who is citing a Stanford study. What's the warrant to the card? It just says that latest research shows a global transition is economically and technically feasible. How? What was the methodology? Why is every country not switched?
We argue that a transition is possible like how Germany's doing right now.
Belgium has 35% of its energy reliant on nuclear
Right, if
power.
you're going to read this shift dissent, I encourage you to do so. There's a lot of evidence that says that subsidies and a lot of other arguments.
Wasn't my question. I'm okay. No, that's fine. We'll move on. EU-US relations. Your link. Why does the United States get access to like these like energy markets in Europe?
Cool. I think the Cultus 620 evidence is really good on this issue. It indicates that when decommissioning occurs in Belgium, U.S. companies are able to support that and then enter energy markets.
Wait. What do you mean they're able to like renewable energy markets? Or?
Any energy markets.
Wait, but not a nuclear power energy market, right?
Right. We support decommissioning and allow them to shift towards other energy sources.
Where does your evidence talk about what types of energy markets? Is nuclear power one of those energy markets that they want?
It just talks about energy markets in general.
Okay.
It also talks about U.S. companies supporting decommissioning activities.
Okay, so that's fine. Why are relations bad now?
That's the Plotnikas Nyquist evidence.
Obama's lack of activity in Ukraine. Your evidence is EU-US relations all these years have been wasted and both sides are disappointed. How does this prove that it's like why are they bad enough that they actually I have a different question. Your internal link is about the EU, but your impact is about cooperation with NATO. How does working with the EU?
We argue that U.S.-EU relations are going to obviously affect NATO.
Where is that internal?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure NATO is a transatlantic alliance between the U.S. and EU. Sure, we labeled our advantage EU.
They are different people in different bodies. How do you just
get to? But a lot of the countries are the same.
The countries are. Why does that matter? Why?
Because it's a collective effort to stop Russia, right?
Okay, that's fine. Next question. For the terror advantage, they're vulnerable to. How does a cyber attack what does a cyber attack on a nuclear plant look like?
Being able to shut down the plant, cause grid failure, being able to trigger like a sort of meltdown. I'm guessing.
Okay, like a meltdown.
Yeah.
What's the impact of a meltdown?
We don't really want. I don't think that's the terminal impact.
You don't. Okay. So how does a meltdown lead to terror nuclear acquisition?
We don't argue that.
Okay. Well, how do they get nuclear acquisition from?
Sure. We argue that. I think the AFP evidence is really good on the issue that Belgium is the nuclear reactors are so faulty that people from ISIS have been able to enter plants and actually work inside plants.
That's fine. 4 minutes starting now. There's just no impact to meltdowns at all.
That's not what the UNAC argues.
It said that meltdowns happen, so that's in the app.
We argue a cybersecurity attack could happen. We don't say that leads to meltdown. Specifically, that was an example of cybersecurity attack in the game.
Okay. Stop. 13. Where's 4 Octas? It's called. Yeah. BDI 16 Octas when it's sent. Alright.
Is this the right one?
Yeah. Is it?
It says 1 series BDI.
Oh, that's just the pocket at the top. It's the right one though. Alright. Everyone good? Okay. Interpretation prohibit means to formally forbid something by law, rule, or other authority according to Google.com violation. Just because you have the words of the resolution of the plain text does not make you topical. The modifier by in the plain text clarifies their mechanism. Prohibition is the decommissioning of existing plants that doesn't prohibit the production of nuclear power. Standards limits the resolution. Is this case point for the debate? There are already multiple countries and reactor types. The applicant specify specking non-topical solvency mechanisms taking it too far. Floating target. The 1 year can be cars about why short-term shift is key and why building future reactor stalls on Nagdis had surprises. The lack of a complete ban of nuclear power might permit the 1 year to do other sketchy things that only Lynbrook knows about. Don't punish me for not being in their prep room. Framing only evaluate the plain text in a vacuum is a yes, no question. Sketchy. I mean, it's ridiculous. Voter 1 fair to combat acme's axiomatic many game drop the debater, drop the argument debater. His ultimate question is debater's ready to send the round dropping the argument. Use space by extract by first and least department. Took their opponents less fire. Less time to create and use speed interpretations of 1 9 packs matter and inherent that jack structural abuse secondary violence arbitrary with the maximization was biological protocol 3 based on debaters. The more abuse and get away defense and theory. They also read competing interpretations. The no RBIs. 1 year RBIs gets sure checking abuse is good theory. Just made theory. 2 just interfere doesn't mean they should win. 3 RBIs to throw some discussions around balls and theory. Action scraps the drop the debater arguments. We'll just say drop the debater on topicality because if you drop the argument, it's dropping the app and dropping the debater is the only way to deter specifically and not being non-topical. So we can drop the argument 1 year. The 2 next off text. Belgium should join the International Framework for Nuclear Energy Cooperation and create for networks for nuclear power without having to establish domestic facilities to educate countries on the safe and proper use of nuclear power solves both warming WNA 15 F games himself to prevent the deployment of nuclear technology by fighting such as the proliferation of nuclear weapons stress the question how do you second exercise responsibly the impacts of material component and develop the infrastructure capabilities necessary. That solves cyber terrorists because it makes the infrastructure for the system stronger and prevents them from being able to get terror acquisition. It makes reactors small and safer. That solves accidents WNA 15 if execution product development the property reactor size while the use there should be incorporated in foreseen safety and implicitly to operational line. The old process tracing proliferation resistance and security that solves terror and solves contamination WNA 15 but actually skip that part. Eliminates extra plutonium that solves terror and war WNA 15 and one of the concerns when it was about to use nuclear power ensure separate if something to not use creative weapon reactors developed then accumulation when it 40 cents to the reactor get from preparation concern out repressing technology side of the plant from the grain and mind reactors spreading and back to use states can carbon denied and avoid advanced repression with fabrication activity result accumulation side of the period plutonium next on carbon link nuclear power heat from warming McGill 15 nuclear power without as well as climate strategy nuclear power generation passing top double the 2050 when meeting who yourself sees nuclear power stable have those sorts of taking the coal fire types and offline US is more nuclear power plants and nothing country we are seeing have to give cost production for to without you can parts of building each without the greater last nuclear power and nuclear safety machine be addressed by shock relation shift link Japan through nuclear substitutes will increase emissions course cycle of Japan to Japan's before Japan fraction power with fast and cost jungle against South and Virginia but came out to be denied my confidence 23 she can't stop the critical like what I natural gas and people electric power each channel relying on imported coal and LNG to optimal increase emissions also through the emission of complete increase lost power nuclear gas renewables link renewables need nuclear power to be effective that's boomer 18 nuclear power source worth carbon the energy wind and solar small together and get a blueprint for reducing carbon dioxide emissions capacity nuclear base then scale wind and solar on top of that displacing fossil fuels and scale many states have struggled with their being letting the nuclear power plants shut down in place by dirty natural gas these earlier nuclear retirements were placed by many of the gains made by renewables wind and solar were not able to scale fast enough to replace lost reactions to nuclear reactions today but end up burning more natural gas emissions with rival histine stating based solar power reactions but intermittent renewables would create reliability problems also eventually status quo solves argument and fear-mongering linked coal kills 4,000 times more people than nuclear power focus on energy prohibition ignores the developing world's recent 11 coal kills 4,000 more people than energy production nuclear power without other pollution kills as many people ever to the United States potential direct radiation exposure Chernobyl market Chernobyl Belgium link nuclear power key to stop emissions in Belgium to 16 Belgium the highest health they brought nuclear power the clean technology goals on the Kyoto Paris Boat House and part of power remaining side system areas in Belgium even the change about 50% of the energy nuclear power and nuclear power is key to Belgian energy makes half of its electricity prevents carbon emissions the IEA 16 nuclear power is the energy also supply capacity about half the atmosphere and 7 US all the Belgium for example they saw net capacity 5 now 5913 megawatts market megawatts and Belgium is key it's linchpin in international climate change NCC 10 the Belgian public cooperation that's supposed to include the fight against climate change policy
policies, carbon development, cooperation with the action of the sector, with the implementation of climate change plans in the capital, with its biological cooperation by supporting non-government organizations, continuing to have the problems, production of big time, the application, competition, whatever, the framework of outside lateral cooperation, Belgium storage, massive action, commercial research, market research, and another link argument is that specifically the reason why Belgium is getting rid of the nuclear weapons is because Germany is placing pressure on them, which means that is another modeling argument because if Germany, if countries have the ability to pressure countries into getting rid of nuclear weapons, power that spills over, which means that we get impacts outside of Belgium and global, or we definitely cause extinction, sharp killing 14, countries must control all the science, stop climate change, national civil power, other countries give the conversation, communication, the ocean, having the way, there's whack, so it's bad disease, complete, conflict, impact, national security, resource wars, the comment, the country, the country, the voice cost for conflict turns the case because when resource wars starts happening, incentivizes terrorists to lead to terror, nuclear weapon position because like when countries are poor, they're more likely to have terrorists that want to go to war, approve a statement, because of things like the government attack, also turns the case because resource wars just lead to nuclear war in general because countries are incentivized, because countries of close proximity have to go to war to be able to get resources to be able to survive because they're obligated to their people. Next off on the case. Let's skip the fourth off. The app is not inherent. The Belgian government has already decided to phase out all reactors by 2025, and the latest decommissioning has already begun in the law cannot be changed. The time frame is locked in specificity to their plain text. They just say that you have to decommission nuclear reactors now. That now does not mean today or tomorrow. Their argument is just that you have to decommission. They are already being decommissioned. Their argument is not shut them down today. Their argument is start to decommission, which is a process, not something that happens instantly, which means that the app is definitely not inherent. And the nuclear impact, that's WNA 15. The Belgian government agreed to nuclear phase out remains in place in 2011. Several political parties agreed that the phase out closing 3 reactors by 2015 and the others by 2025 should be implemented. The government had agreed when the law would not change by a degree of the timing of phase out is final. The decommissioning activities are well advanced. This also puts the app into binding either A, they defend phase out, and the app is not inherent, B, they defend immediate shutdown, which requires rewriting Belgian law. That's an extra topical link to the app. Next, EU, no impact US relations, hospital of the US, European partnership with the nation, well, the Earth, layers beyond the NATO holds us, and some of the parts of the more like international talk about the common sense and policy talk. There's political things, fund the military, something Europe's domestic and economic turmoil takes precedence, market precedence, no new war between the US and Russia, Finland 9, Nisarg Shah over the factors come to the situation, but be able to present the army, hold me in this on the presumption of rationality there, but mistakes of aggression, we're consuming the other risk, we're creating whatever price, seeking the elements we call for the aggression war, and aggression to Russia war should happen. If Ukraine and Syria should have already triggered the impact of proxy wars, or direct hostilities, don't cause relation to breakdown, nothing will cyber. Even if an attack were to happen in plain sight, unbeatable security checks against what experts don't say, and any real damage to 16, nuclear capability to connect cyber attacks in the air with the gap those things, or isolate no, because the computers back to the internet, let's cyber through the experts say, but they can some of the practice of 5% success in half the control system, of like limited access, consequently they should be low, zero impact. Actually, skip that card. Terrorism turn, stopping NPP, increases stockpile size, that's Japan fears bomb 15, Japan's plutonium stockpiles big enough to produce thousands of weapons, 47 reactors, tons of separate plutonium, but all nuclear plants were restarted. Japan consumed about 4 metric tons per year, drawing down its domestic supply, and no risk of nuclear terrorism, too many obstacles, big shark, 14 gas, terrorism, the divided threat is highly likely in the past 12 years, the possibility of terrorists found that actually the government states, one is that because half the nations around it, but a lot of terrorism got loose weapons, the US already deal, the terrorist minded private, this one to the bomb. Mark, also, quickly on the theory stuff at the bottom, we get new answers in the 2 hour because the theory question is completely relevant, but we should be able, we don't have to, counter-interpretation on like the swipe, we don't have to disclose our interps 15 minutes before the round if the argument in the app was not disclosed 15 minutes before the round, because all of their arguments applied. We did not know that they wanted us to disclose our team interps, but good because debaters in round should be able to write interps against apps that are new and then disclose them after the round. That's all their arguments.
You know everything that you did read.
You do it on the document, send that out to us.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. Oh, are you not probably agreeing?
No.
Oh, okay, just start listening.
Waiting for the email.
Yeah, you're good. File, attach. Yes, okay, I sent it. It should be different. If it's not, I'll delete it. The easiest way to do it is if the taxes decides to one.
Yeah.
And it's not.
I would check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, you don't prohibit the production of nuclear power. You just decommission existing reactors.
Okay.
That's not a prohibition, right? Like if I said the resolution was ban Ferraris in the United States, and you said like a recall on all Ferraris, that's not a ban. Like they can still be given back to people.
Great. All right. Cool. Let's talk about the warming design then.
Sure.
Wait. First of all, status of Cat plan.
Conditional.
Conditional. Okay. Cool. Let's talk about warming design then.
Sure.
Let's talk about this. The Plumer evidence says that renewables need nuclear power to be effective. Can you explain this?
Sure. So renewable energy is not a fuel source. So the evidence specifically indicates that renewables still need a base to be able to produce energy. So they need liquefied natural gas
So
or coal.
why can't renewables produce electricity?
It's not that they can't produce electricity. They can. It's not a fuel source. It cannot be the base to produce its own electricity. It could, but the evidence indicates that if it were to do that, things like intermittency would be even worse. So it doesn't have the ability to do it effectively. So the shift would definitely happen to
It can't do it effectively unless there are.
because all of your evidence that cites renewables being possible and feasible cites a world in which we had things like LNG.
Let's talk about the
nuclear power as the base.
Let's talk about Tubin. It says nuclear power key to stop emissions in Belgium.
Yeah.
So your Tubin and IEA evidence just says nuclear power is a big role in energy supply. Where does it argue that there's a shift?
Sure. Well, we beat a shift. No, so sure. Our evidence just indicates that there's a very, very large use of Belgium. So it's not easy for them to have
I understand.
shift.
These aren't links to the design, right?
I guess it's a framing area. I guess it's not really a link. It's more of a clarification. Well, there's a link because they have a lot of nuclear power, so the shift would be larger. So I do think it is a link. It's a specificity argument to Belgium. Because if they have a lot of nuclear power and we win our shift arguments, that's a supercharged link to Belgium.
Okay, sure, cool. Let's talk about why it's a linchpin. It says that your evidence says that it supports a lot of NGOs and a lot of organizations. Is Belgium the only country to support these organizations?
Our evidence indicates that they have been at the core of a lot of different
Where does
types.
it say that?
Sure. So it talks about how the Belgian Development Cooperation has explicitly included the fight against climate change in its policy as a priority.
Cool.
It says,
I'm pretty sure a lot of governments have done that, like everyone in the Paris
I
Agreement.
don't think so.
Really?
Paris Agreement wasn't binding. Our evidence indicates that our evidence indicates that Belgium was trying to be as consistent with those as possible, which is why your app isn't inherent.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about inherency then.
Sure.
Why are we not inherent?
Cool. So a few things here. First, since the plan is not topical, even if you win not being topical is good, this specifically makes your plan not inherent. Because you say we need to decommission reactors, but if reactors are already being decommissioned, and that was your
Where
plan,
does it say they're being decommissioned?
it specifically says that the Belgian government had already agreed to a phase-out that remains in place, and that your evidence that says that it's already being phased out by 2015 to 25, the card you read in the app that said being phased out in the status quo proves that decommission.
There was no card that was right.
But, well, my evidence says that it is, and it says they're being shut down by 2015, 2025, but you didn't.
Okay, cool.
You didn't read the inheritance card you got. Congrats. Okay, are you taking a breath?
I am taking it.
Okay, I'm gonna get water from the bathroom.
topicality, then
You said there's only one part.
no, it's a new document.
Oh, I thought. Sorry, I thought that was good.
Okay, so order's gonna be topicality, case, counterplan, decide.
Topicality case. What's the order on case?
We're gonna. I'll signpost. It might change. First advantage, most likely.
Okay. Yeah. T case counterplan.
Okay.
Yeah.
We made the interpretation. You say that prohibit me to. You say that by saying by we do not prohibit the production of nuclear energy. But the plan statement literally says the way we prohibit the production of nuclear energy is by decommissioning these reactors. The fact that there are only 7 reactors in Belgium, and that is the only way we have the Belgium create nuclear energy. That is the method of implementation that we specify. By does not mean that we change it by saying that we are only decommissioning 7 reactors. The purpose of the app is to ban nuclear energy. The implementation method is specified by that. You should interpret it this way, that it's not beneficial. It's not beneficial because that's how it's supposed to be. That's how you probably interpret it in the first place. Not that the reactor specifically talks about. Not that we do not defend the 7 reactors. Also, you should probably infer this because all the advantages based on the fact production of the prohibition of nuclear energy. We grant you limits and we grant you all your links to this. Which means that the interpretation, which means that there's no potential abuse. All your T arguments are potential abuse. That's not the reason you should vote for them. Any risk of an admin is probably the reason to vote for them. Your backing argument that's a yes or no question is probably not good because there are different ways to interpret the word by, and our interpretation is probably most likely to be correct because the judge is more likely to interpret it that way. And the second of all, it's contextually framed like that phrase, framed that way. The app, and third, we grant you all your links, which is the reason why the topicality probably should be rejected. Now, let's go to the app. On the inherency arguments, first, on the inherency arguments, statistical result for the nuclear development, Belgium, nuclear powers, unclear, algebra, still negotiation with the government, empirical flip-flop, that's Green 15, that's Green 15, nuclear power lab, inflection, 2009, government decided to postpone phase out by 10 years, this all allowed to see power reactors, UDS, to electrical innovation with the Belgian government, and license extension, which proves that there are still probably some licensing or negotiations that are still occurring. Your evidence indicates that there are 3 reactors being phased out. Now, there was a temporary shutdown, they're not being decommissioned right now. The third argument is that decommissioning occurs between 2022 and 2025. If you actually read the evidence, it indicates that the decommissioning plans occurred in the last 3 years of the phase out. Right now, they're trying to build more energy. They're trying to increase their energy so they can cope up with the energy loss that they're going to face because it is 50% of their energy, which means that it is inherent. Now, you say it's extra topical. Not sure. We read the Jelly law. We just speed up the law, which is not extra topical plague. Now, let's go for EU-US relations. Now, the argument EU-US relations. You say there's no impact. That is not true. You say that there will not be a check by aggression. No, our evidence is probably more likely. The BBC evidence from May, which says that US-Europe is key to Russian aggression. That means it's going to outweigh. You say no impact to EU-US relations about no, there's no harm that occurs. That's not true because we said that it is true right now. That's the Plenkovic evidence from the top, which says that Ukraine has specifically caused the strain. Now you say no nuclear war between US and Russia. That is not true. First, geopolitical bringing the African, which is the bring of geopolitical warfare right now. There's peace, which is the reason why Russia won necessarily. Russia won't necessarily asking now. Second of all, the deterrence theory won't apply because that countries aren't volatile right now. Putin is becoming increasingly violent. Third of all, nationalism, like national supports Russians. For example, Russians are backing Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Putin can justify war to his citizens. Four is that the threats from Denmark and the BBC evidence that Putin's being capable of being irrational, which means that takes out your evidence. We're going to extend the nearshore merits. It says no risk of nuclear terrorism and no cybersecurity, which means that you do not get any impact to this. No impact to this matter. We will extend, and now we will go for on the infinite counterpart. No solvency. Belgium 100 participants in infinite 16 participant countries include Belgium. Now on the warming side, no false fellowship. Belgium has unlimited offshore wind energy. Takes up the wall, which takes out your evidence. That's pretty small too. Belgium is in strong mention that nuclear powers that didn't know the way forward. Belgium has no need for rival because having unlimited offshore wind generation with the best total electricity consumption, which takes out your arguments why they're dependent on nuclear power because we have enough to support nuclear power. Now past the tipping point, emissions climate efficient. That group 717, climate change at which level Earth's accelerator to our warming is issued. Worst case scenario, we have reached a fear to point which they warm beyond our control. Rational plus transition away from fossil the problems that we already exist supported delays and theories. I believe that after reducing your regrets which will work and Belgium can still be the linchpin institution towards renewables or NGOs with levels supported by other signatories and terminal defense and nuclear power generators as much carbons and actually have nuclear power are not carbon neutral. You're talking about meaning that you're in ores is much more energy intensive carbon neutral will relate to nuclear will get worse. Cut the card at intensive.
Just you mark, you delete. No, you resend. much time did you have? Did someone write it down?
Oh, me? I had 38 seconds.
Okay.
Should we set?
Should be sent. Oh, did you also put the card on there that you didn't have on the doc?
Everything was in the doc.
No, there was just a card that was not
The
on
green
the doc.
15 evidence about inherency?
Yes.
It was at the bottom of the doc. I'm sorry, I accidentally misplaced that. Sorry about that.
It's not. It's not. Oh, it is. It is on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let me know when you get it so we can start that.
Yeah, I'm putting it right now. Here, I'm gonna just close out the old one so I'll take those. And now I have one document, it's the right document, and I'm starting 113. Were there any other inherency arguments? Like, what are the inherency arguments other than green? Do you have any of them that?
Yeah, there were stems.
Are there any of them that are independent of green?
Yeah.
Like what?
We argue that we're not extra, we are inherent, but we just speed up decommissioning, and decommissioning occurs, that was the first argument. The third argument was decommissioning occurs in the last 3 years. Right now, they're undergoing a decommissioning phase because they need to shift towards more energy. Your evidence indicates that nuclear power, Belgium uses a lot of nuclear power. The whole point of decommissioning slowly is that you can build up other markets, other energy markets, you can support your country, right? So we argue that decommissioning occurs in the last 3 years. The fourth argument was that 3 reactors you mentioned in your card were temporarily shut down because of some safety issues, but they were restarted afterwards. So all reactors are functional right now as the status quo.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. The order. Okay. So the order is going to be.
If you're reading anything, you can
There are no cards around this.
Okay.
So it's going to be T. Be the disad, the counterplan, and the case.
So T.
Yeah, they're only 3 off. We didn't read the taxes this one. Sorry, Felix, you gave me a face. I'm like, no, we're good.
No, I was just counting.
Yeah.
Or like.
T disad.
Yep, I'm good.
Case. All right.
No RBI not going for it on the shift disadvantage. Beautiful props here. The first argument is that there's no shift because of unlimited weight because of the carbon. We're going to use evidence, but they have conceded our card that says that nuclear power is that renewable energy depends on nuclear power, and this is consistent with our claim because they still have nuclear power, which means that unlimited wind energy is probably is being used by the nuclear power that exists in Belgium in the first place, which means that when they've conceded that renewable energy is not a fuel source, which means that it doesn't have the ability to produce energy on its own, which means it's consistent with the nuclear power. The evidence specifically indicates that they would switch to something like liquefied natural gas, which would increase emissions, which means that we are winning, that there is definitely only going to be a risk of emission. They have no offense on this, though. Their argument is that there is a chance of emission for renewables, but they're conceding too many cards. The first argument is the carbon link because nuclear power is key to prevent warming. They've not already stable piece of units that says nuclear power does not generate enough power to generate average carbon kilowatt, specifically in the case that in order to make the 2 degrees Celsius change, there needs to be nuclear power around the world. The core of stack evidence is an empirical example of Japan specifically shifting over different types of electricity. Is an empirical claim, that's fine. We will extend. They have conceded a few different arguments here. First of all, they've conceded the pressure link, which was that if Germany has the ability to pressure, if Germany has the ability to pressure Belgium, they'll pressure other countries, which means that we spill over to multiple different countries. Not answered in the 1 year. No new 2 year answers to the 3 2 in our arguments because the 2 in our time allocation was determined off of the 1 year choice. Next is the Belgium link, which specifically that nuclear power is existent on 50% of their electricity. Electricity comes from nuclear power. That was our argument. How it supercharges the link. Not answered in the 1 year. You can also extend that nuclear power is key to Belgian energy, which means they're going to be relucted on the shift in the first place. You've also extended that Belgium is key because this is linked to international climate change. It's been the core of multiple different international organizations. Those internal link turns their EU-US, this internally turns their scenario of EU-US relations because if Belgium is not part of things like the Paris Accords, which was a multinational treaty, which includes multiple different those countries, that this controls the internal link to the case to be next. Kicks out the global warming to the cosmic chart, like station the chart can together. There are multiple. Your evidence not taken into account the different words of our evidence. You have an impact that's been not specific to the very claims in our cards. Our evidence is that things like sea level rise have already been happening, and how it's getting worse, and how it's oceanic indications is bad. You also see the independent argument, which means that it leads to resource wars, because even if the earth get hotter, it'll lead to things like agricultural crop failure, which means that even though there's no internal impact in the long term to warming by itself, things like resource wars, you also see that internal link strings the case, because if there is a resource war that incentivizes countries to go to war because in close proximity they need to be able to go to war with other countries to develop resources. Here's the kicker: since you consider the terms case argument by reading that warming is inevitable, that means that there's only a chance, because if you consider the warming is inevitable, the terms case argument means that the impact to the case is inevitable. No permutation of the counterplan means that the only chance of solving nuclear warming is nuclear power, because it's the only way to create a baseload that is a carbon-free source of energy, and things like liquefied natural gas not be able to step back for that. Things like utilitarianism arguments you make in the case being the boss round. It says that extinction is the most important thing, which means that it comes first, which means that the Ditzian controls the internal link not only to the first link of the scenario, but also the internal link to the impact, which means that it's sufficient for whether Ditzian turns the entirety of the case. Next on the line by line of 1A argument. They make the argument, they say there's no fossil fuel ships. We've already answered that. They make the argument how it generates this much carbon as a natural plant. Their solid fuel evidence is ridiculous. It just has not a natural chemical mix in the search. Our evidence is very good about how it's... Oh, actually, oh shit, I have this right. Ducks. I'll pull that up in a second. Their evidence is ridiculous, highly unwarranted. Shit. I'll get to that. That's fine. Ignore that. We'll move on. That's fine. Next, actually, that's fine. But it's definitely still a reason to make the argument how it appears to us. No, it doesn't, because our evidence indicates that it's a carbon-free evidence, but also our evidence is empirical claim that the Gill card says specifically to be able to reach the 2 degrees car cells. It's a question of emissions. Your argument is about uranium mining, but no, it's not. There's recent studies have shown that uranium mining doesn't emit as much, because the question is whether it emits. Their evidence is just fear mongering, but even at best, it's a question of try or die. If nuclear power has the ability to generate the energy necessary, then it's the most important thing, because their evidence does not solve, which means the best. This is defense against this zero, but regardless, the rest of their evidence is non-responsive. The next argument is that's fine. So next go to, they say that Belgium is still leaving the lift, so shift towards renewables would be able to solve, but they don't get a shift towards renewables because we already answered that, because they're relying on energy in the first place. Next go on also warming is an inevitable evidence. Oh yeah, we already did that argument. So yeah, that's fine. Next go to if next. Ha ha ha, you're a freshman, your junior made this argument against us, and I didn't make the true answer, but now I will. Your evidence indicates that you can look up on the website. Just to clarify, they are an observer country, not a participant country, which means that it's not binding if there's no permutation on the counterplan, which means the tutor does not get to leverage counterplan solvency against the case. You conceded that it solves, you've conceded that it solves things like proliferation, terror, and war, which means that other countries happy, because that's the key source of unsettling in countries like Russia and other areas in the region, which it helps things like multilateral negotiations, things like the NPT, which are enforced multilaterally in different types of countries, would mean that the counterplan has the ability to solve different types of things like the case, because the only internal link to the case is things like the EU-US relations. The last argument first, now we're going to go on the case. Just inherency. First of all, this is ridiculous. Your plain text, you just will cross by the T-shell cracks. Then the by modifier means that the mechanism for the plan, for example, if we said we will ban handguns by printing papers of ponies, that is not topical just because of the words, the resolution. The words in the plain text are that you should decommission planes now. You've also, the 1AR proves, you said that we are already in a decommissioning phase, which means that we are still technically in the process of decommissioning, which means it's already started. Also, your evidence does not take into account the fact that you call for a card, it's really good. It says that the phase out has already been locked in for that time schedule, which means they don't have the ability to overturn it, because it was decided on a large majority by the entirety of the Belgian government that is when they will phase it out, because of the extension and how that was a problem. I'm going to try to pull this apart. Uranium mining emissions are functionally non-existent in comparison to 98 mining. Uranium produces only a small fraction of the process total emissions. Parker's paper published in the peer-reviewed studies of environmental science and technology found that uranium mining contributes to 1 gram of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilowatt hour to the nuclear fuel cycle by comparison to coal-fired power production of 800 grams per CO2 kilowatt hour natural gas.
Yes. Can you send that card?
Yeah.
sent it. Yeah, that's fine.
What was the argument made on T about banning handguns?
Oh, so sure, my argument was that, I even said this on the T term, just because the words of the res are in your plan text does not mean that that is your action.
Okay.
Because you
Cool,
said we
cool,
will
got it,
do,
got it,
yeah,
got
we will
it.
do the res by this.
Okay. And the adherency argument was that phase out's already occurring.
That a decommissioning process is happening now. That's your plan text, decommission plans.
Or even just the plans to phase them out.
The order is going to be topicality, counterclaim, inherency, and then the case warming debate should be flowed all in the warming dissent.
Sorry.
Okay, wait, sorry, say that again.
So it's going to be topicality,
Okay.
counterclaim, then inherency arguments, then the case and warming arguments will all be flowed on the dissent. So you can just flow everything on the dissent afterwards.
Okay, sure.
Are we good?
Yep.
You're arguing on topicality about how we only defend decommissioning is not true. You see, you see the weighing analysis why you probably for our interpretation. First of all, you can see that contextualizing the absence of banning nuclear energy, all our advantage from the fact that we ban nuclear energy, not specifically decommissioning reactions. So long as we prove that that specific reason why now you also concede the argument that it's a question of implementation. No, the evidence is a question of implementation. That is a conceded I mean, which is the reason why that's the reason you should not evaluate topicality for topicality to make it domestic because you have conceded that banning saying the words of the resolution. We do not just say the words of the resolution to meet from the top. We say the words of the resolution and then explicitly say the implementation text by saying by decommissioning these reactors. That is the point. You should probably not avoid a topicality if you're unclear about it. You should default to substance and substitutes probably easier to debate. And if the T debate is too hard, it's too messy, you should probably default to substance. Now, counterpoint, you say that Belgium is an observer country. That is not true because, for example, the list of countries in that card that I read includes the United States. The United States is the one that introduced IFNEC, for example, and that is a reason why it is not an observer country. Do not prefer the card evidence over anything else. It's from IFNEC's website, and you prefer that. Do not, you should not go for Jonas's argument about, do not search it up online. That is not your jurisdiction. You should go for what is said in round, not out of round. That is not a reason. Jonas is shaking his head right now, but you probably should not go on the website and make arguments for him if it's a question about what happens in round. The card explicitly states it includes participating countries, which like the United States, and the United States is the one that created IFNEC. It's in the same list as Belgium. That is probably the reason why it is a participating country. Now, the inherency arguments. You say that decommissioning is occurring right now, but no, we have conceded a couple arguments here. First of all, you have conceded that decommissioning will occur by 2022 to 2025. We have researched this out. You should probably look at us for specificity that it's probably going to occur on the later stages of decommissioning. The second one, you say decommissioning is the plan text. Yes, decommissioning is in the plan text. We say we speed up decommissioning. The law right now is locked in, but that is like saying the law for banning allowing handguns is locked in. But yes, people overturn that by reading the act. I mean, come on, we're making changes to a law. You cannot allow that to happen. Now, the case warming dissent. You have not gone for impact defense on. You did not go for the impact defense on the EU-US relations, and you have gone just for the inevitability argument. So we're going to make a couple arguments here. It's probably going to damn you now. You said that nuclear power is contingent upon us being loading the fuel, the fossil fuel ship. That is not true. The Greenpeace evidence indicates that Belgium, since Belgium's offshore, it's on the ocean offshore line. That is enough for us to create wind energy. Wind energy. You guys know how wind energy works. It works by creating turbines that move as wind moves, as wind is created, which generates electricity, which can solve. That is the reason why that is not solved into anyways. We will not go for that. We will go for the Greek 16 evidence which says warming is inevitable. Your argument here is that warming is continuing to get worse. Yes, the argument is warming is going to get worse, but it's going to inevitably lead to extinction, which means your impacts are not needed. You see that internal link turn. Yeah, now the question becomes whether whether it turns case. That is not true because resource wars are going to occur anyways because warming is inevitable. That means it's non-unique in the world to the counterplan and the status quo. If you think about it this way, look. Warming is inevitable. Resource wars and any sort of war will occur anyway. Only the app is a unique chance of preventing Russia war by creating renewables. Probably vote on a certain probably.